What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Mr. J. Hill, back for another episode of In the Black Court with my dog, my man, my homie, Attorney Ken Harris.
I can't be bargaining like that. That's cute.
Please don't.
That's cute.
You cannot do that.
This is a campus show.
Throw the yo up or something, man. You can't do
that. I apologize to all my brothers out there.
I got you hyped. My bad. I didn't mean to get you that hype.
Hype me up on the road. You know what I'm saying?
You are my dog.
You and George Clinton, man. Y'all always take us in the wrong direction, man.
You are my dog, though, man. How's your week, bro?
It's good, man. It's good. Blessed and highly favored.
Oh, snap. You got the white shirt on. Who you sue today?
Hey.
I know you sued somebody.
Man, it's purity cloth. Purity cloth. No lawsuits today.
No lawsuits today.
Okay. Man. How you doing, man?
Man, I'm pretty good, man. Leg feeling
Fee.
better. Hey, Fee. What up, Fee? What's up,
Hey,
Crystal? Lil J?
Yeah.
Sid?
Christian Sid?
Yeah. Family, man. I'm doing good, man. You got your Easter speech ready?
I do, man. Got that Easter sermon written. No, I'm just kidding, man. But yeah, man, Easter coming up. Me and LG.
Yeah.
That winding road, man. We almost finished, man. Lent is almost over.
Y'all brothers been in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights.
And no meat. No bread. No fried foods.
No pulse.
Yeah, man. There's been no sodas.
That's real.
Man, all I've had, man, is I did water and I did grape products, like water and like grape juice.
Oh, okay. God, I didn't know what you were talking about. That was a great product. I was like, is that the, in the store?
Grape mush.
Grill. I thought that was an off brand or something. They sell at the store or something, man.
Nah, man, great products, man. So I had to do that because, then you can still drink wine, man.
Okay.
They drink wine at the Bible.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So just let you
Shout
know.
out to the Bible.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hey, man, listen. Hey, we glad to be back.
22.
Man, well, let me say this. I commend you, brothers, man. I've done Lent with you guys plenty of times. You guys go hard. Y'all go to the point, man, of hospitalization. So I just wanted to say, man, I commend y'all for what y'all doing and everything. We got a lot to talk about tonight, though.
Yeah, got a lot to talk about tonight. It's crazy, man. It's a lot going on out here, man, in this world right now.
It is.
Yeah. So, yeah, man, how we going to kick it off, man? We're going to do that. We're going to start off like that.
Welcome to the UNC podcast with your favorite fans, Ken and Jay. Man, I just wanted to, I saw something real cool, man, as we speak about UNC. There was on Instagram, I follow, the Tar Heels and everything. I don't know if you follow them on Facebook or anything like that. But I saw some letterhead with UNC on it, or it had Tar Heels on it. And a publicist for Carolina, for the UNC men's basketball team. And I'm a publicist. I've studied and practiced in the field of PR for a while. And so I was intrigued, man, because I saw this release and it said, the following statement is released by Armando Bacot. And it had in quotes, "I'm back." Jordan. Yeah, man.
It's almost like that, man. I mean,
you think so?
Dude, man, having him back, like, it's almost, man, it's almost like a hot dog or something, man. No matter what you put around it, it's going to taste good.
Oh, okay.
Armando Bacot, man, right now, to have him back, it's like, no matter who, I feel good about what's going to happen next year with Tar Heel basketball, no matter who they wrap around them. Now, I want Caleb Love back, and I want R.J. Davis back.
Caleb gone.
But Armando coming back is big, man. And you know what it was, NIL money. And you can come back now, he might be more valuable. I know some people talk about the rookie wage scale and all that. But if he was going to be a second rounder or something, he'd probably make more money NIL at Chapel Hill than he would have his first year in the NBA. So what type of decision is that? Come back and make more money. That's a good deal.
I think it's very ironic that you mentioned NIL, which is name, image, and likeness for folks who don't follow that type of stuff. But now college players can get paid for their name, image, and likeness. They do deals with all kinds of brands and different companies. What's funny about that, though, is that I follow, of course, UNC basketball, and I get ads about Armando Bacot. So he's promoting different things already, and they're doing they're sponsoring digital ads with him in it. So it was funny you mentioned that.
You got that magical run they had. So then their brands expanded because they had that magical run, and now those brands are valuable, so they can come back, play college ball, and leverage those brands. So this is one of the times where a policy that the NCAA adopted actually may work, because these guys need to make money and need to have the opportunity to make money. But if they can do it and also continue their education, man, it's the best of all worlds. So I'm really excited, man. And I know you said Caleb is gone. I don't know, because Caleb right now, late first rounder, second rounder, he got kind of the same dynamic. So we'll see what he does, you know.
For Armando Bacot, you know, I think it was smart for him to come back. I gotta be honest, man. Early in the season, man, if you were around me and you were watching the Carolina game with me, I was calling him soft. You know, I was like, man, he's soft, dog. Yeah, I was really, really upset with him in a lot of the mid-season games. But man, he just became the anchor as far as, you know, that team and helping get them through. I think it's going to benefit him to go back for his senior season. You know, you've been a former agent, that, you know, in this one and done era, that, you know, the longer you stay in college, people feel like, or the scouts and people feel like, you know, well, is he good enough to make it in the league? I think this will benefit him, and he'll have a long lasting career in the NBA.
6'11" and a 7'1" wingspan.
Man, have you seen that dude's arms?
You can't buy that, man. You can't. I keep trying to tell you, he's not gonna make it in the NBA. I'm telling you right now, man. That dude basically was getting to the point where he's averaging 20 rebounds a game.
Rebounds. Yeah.
That's scary stuff, man. I think he averaged more rebounds, I think, in the NCAA tournament. They had the most average rebounds going all the way back to the early 2000s.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people underestimate him a little bit. But go Tar Heels, man. We got Armando back. Let's see who else comes back over the next couple of weeks.
Last thing on this, I did want to ask you this. You know, I was at the game. I'll keep talking about this Syracuse game that I was at. Real quick, he decided to come back. Man, I saw they had this video running where all the seniors it was senior night, and they were all talking about, you know, their wonderful time at Carolina. Is it, you know, life at Carolina is pretty good for basketball players. So do you think that came, you know, a part of his decision?
Man, when you wake up in the morning, in that dorm room, and smell those trees out there, man, and that breeze hit you down in Chapel Hill, and you walk on the yard, man, every day you feel like you want to cry, man. Just so great, having so much gratitude for being at the Hill, man. I'm telling you,
okay,
it's a wonderful experience, and then look, man, don't have me crying, man. I'm talking about how it is on the football Saturday mornings, man. Yeah. But it's just a beautiful environment. Mm-hmm. I remember they used to talk about how much Michael Jordan loved the Chapel Hill atmosphere and environment. But it's just a unique place to matriculate, and try to throw out a big word out there. It's a unique place to go to school. So, yeah, I can understand why somebody would want to come back having gone through it.
Oh, sorry, man. Last thing he mentioned, and I knew you would appreciate this. He talked about, I can't wait to come back in the summer as a pro and teach the young guys. That's the Carolina way. Boy. Somebody knowing that you used to hoop at Carolina in those summers. Yeah. I thought that was crazy that he mentioned that.
They come back, and there's so many guys, man, that are in the NBA, and they get to test themselves against the NBA players. And it's fun to watch. You know, watch them do that. And then some of them leak over there in Woolen. You know, where LG played in Woolen. I played in Woolen every day. I mean, It's like just...
What's Woolen?
Woolen Gym.
Where is that?
Right on the middle of campus.
Okay.
And they all come back and play in Woolen. MJ used to sneak back and play in Fetzer.
Okay.
Gym. But yeah, man, they all come back. So it's like Wonderland. I mean, come on, man. You see these NBA ballers balling against each other right there in the gym. Just going at it, it's something special, man.
All right, so we got to turn to some tragic news, not so great news up in New York, and I wanted to touch on it for a quick minute. There's a gentleman by the name of Frank James who I guess got into the subway system up in New York City. and they're saying that he's responsible allegedly for a mass shooting in Brooklyn, New York, and that he injured 10 people. What's crazy is that they're saying that allegedly he let off some smoke bombs as the subway is moving, and people were trapped for like 2 minutes, and he let off about 33 rounds and actually injured about 10 people. No life-threatening injuries right now, but I just wanted to get your take on that situation.
This one is interesting to me. I would like to say, because I've seen some of his video posts that occurred prior to the incident, and one of the things that we really have to always be concerned about in a situation like this is the mental health issues, especially in the African American community. Some of his posts seemed disjointed, and there were some things that he said that might suggest that he may have had some mental health related issues. I think the judge today or yesterday did indicate two things. I think the judge wanted to make sure he received his medication, but also I think the judge has recommended that he have a mental health evaluation. So, you wonder whether or not that's a part of it. So that's number one. But number two, I'm wondering, and thank God no one died.
Yeah.
But you wonder, in that close proximity, he fired 33 rounds, injured 10 people. You wonder how it is that no one died. And so we may find out some additional details about what he was battling with, because I know he talked about battling this concept of engaging in a mass shooting. So, it's just really strange. Prayers out to all the victims, I'm not talking about just physically, but those who went through emotional trauma and their families. But I think there's more to this story than what we know, either from a mental health standpoint, or maybe he didn't do all that he wanted to do. I understand he had a lot of weapons, allegedly, in a storage facility, and may or may not have decided to deploy all that in the attack. But it just seems like there's more there that we're going to learn about this situation.
Yeah, there was a 30-hour manhunt, and to your point, they mentioned that they found ammunition and dangerous materials in an apartment, in a storage facility, I believe also in a U-Haul truck, and at the scene. I think he left some stuff there as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he left his phone and a credit card there.
Yeah.
And then he's the one who called the police on himself. They did have some Crime Stoppers and some rewards out there, but he called the police on himself and directed them to him, told them what he had on, told them he had a green backpack, allegedly. So there's just, there's never a time where anybody's going to give anyone an excuse for hurting anybody. He seems more like somebody who might have been battling some things, and it's just unfortunate all the way around. Yeah.
I want to echo your point. Prayers for everyone involved. Sad situation. Godspeed to everyone. I did want to pivot a little bit on this story and ask about, I was reading about the attorneys in the case, and you mentioned something about his medication. I think there was some other medication for his legs that his attorneys wanted to make sure that,
I think there was salt pills.
Yeah, that he had access to. And then they also tried to get some comments from his attorneys, the defense attorneys. And that sparked a question that I feel like a lot of people have. I know you're not a defense attorney, but people, let me speak for myself. I've always wondered what is in the mindset of a defense attorney in this type of situation where allegedly something has happened and we feel like it's, the general public thinks it's an open and shut case. What is the mentality? Is it just career driven? Is it, what is it? I don't want to put anything on top of it like that. What is it when that person takes on a case like this?
And I've had some pretty serious criminal cases where that have been, widely broadcast. And when you get involved in a situation like this, you take a cerebral, mechanical approach to it. It's not about what other people think. It's about what's in front of you. And what you do is ultimately you'll you want to reserve even your own judgment about what happened until you have all the facts. And that won't happen until you get discovery from the state and you have all the information in front of you. You never know. There is always a possibility you might be surprised at what you see when you get discovery back. So it's always better to go in with an open mind. Your role is to represent your client zealously and vigorously.
Yeah.
And you can't do that if you come in with some preconceived notions about their guilt. So you have an open slate in front of you. You build the facts as you go along and let those facts lead you to conclusions. You don't let your conclusions adjust how you see the facts.
So people on the outside looking in, we see, this, an attorney take a case like this. I remember back in the Nipsey Hussle, in his situation when he was shot, people had things to say about the young man's representation at that point. Should we not be, have any ill feeling toward an attorney that decides to take that case, or how should we feel, or does it matter, I guess, even?
No, because everyone is entitled to a fair defense under our rules and our system. You're assumed to be innocent until you're proven guilty. And even in this case, the defense attorney has already hinted that there shouldn't be a rush to judgment in terms of what happened here. And that may be hinting at some issues related to Mr. James's state of mind. But you just never know until you get all the facts in front of you and can make some decisions then. It's better to wait until you know exactly what happened.
Cool.
Yeah.
Again, prayers and our thoughts are with all of the families. A great point that you made. When you see the news reports, all you see is the 10 victims. But what if you were, they said people were trapped in the subway or what do you call it, the rail car or whatever it is for like 2 minutes. That's an eternity, Ken.
Oh, yeah. And post-traumatic stress disorder is real. We deal with it all the time at my law practice. And so, prayers not only to the folks who were affected physically, and thank God no one passed away, no one died, but also prayers to the people who are affected mentally and emotionally when they're involved in a situation like this.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I know you wanted to talk about a lovely person, a person that we all know and love. Who is that person that you wanted to talk about tonight, Ken?
James Brown. No, I'm just kidding.
And his perm. No, sorry. Go ahead.
That was the man.
Yeah.
No, Miss Harris, the vice president. And, sometimes I'm reluctant to say her first name because I say her first name wrong. So I get
Kamala.
I don't want to be disrespectful.
I'm sorry, they used to have the shirts during her campaign where it had comma and then like a comma and then la.
Okay. Kamala Harris. I just wanted to man, it's interesting, man. He had this poll. It was in the Sacramento Bee. Said that Californians, and she's from California, and California is a very liberal state. She was a senator, right? And attorney general.
Yep.
Yeah. You would assume she'd be very popular out in California, but she is not.
Yeah.
You got a very low approval rating for Kamala Harris in California recently, down to I think 35%. Joe Biden is at 50% in California. So, I've started wondering, man, if you look at her situation, how do we feel about her performance thus far? Normally, the vice presidency, well, I won't say normally, but a lot of times the vice presidency is seen as a stepping stone to the presidency. And I'm wondering whether or not Americans and Black Americans see her in that light.
Okay.
The first thing is I hear a lot of complaints that people don't see her at all.
I think I said that last week.
Yeah, and so I was just wondering, Jay, how people look at her. I hear a lot of my AKA friends, they're really proud of her, and they should be. But there just doesn't seem to be that buzz about her taking that next step and ending up being the president of the United States. And I think that was one of the goals initially.
a lot to unpack here, in my opinion, or at least how I feel about the situation. Number one, I heard Dick Cheney, former Vice President Dick Cheney, say something one time. He said there is a difference. Don't get scared. He said there's a difference in campaigning and governing. And you say a lot of things on the campaign trail. You're trying to get elected. You're making promises. You're making deals and everything. Boy, I remember the first time. I don't know if you remember this. I'm trying not to digress too much, but I remember the first time I saw former President Barack Obama after his that first press meeting, like when he goes and they tell you everything. To me, he never looked the same. So I think the first thing is that we just have to respect the fact that now she's governing and she has to deal with real live situations more than we even know about. And so, of course, when it comes to an approval rating, it's going to ebb and flow. And you and I know that, okay, when did they take this poll? If it was recent, then we know that she's been in office for a little over a year. So somebody can have their feelings about her at this point. So I don't know how much credence we should give a poll at this point.
Yeah. Well, I guess the question is, do we look at her as being presidential?
Okay.
Now, I'm not asking whether or not she deserves respect for her accomplishment, because she does. Mm-hmm. I mean, she has accomplished a lot and been absolutely magnificent. I'm hoping and praying that she makes that transition to being the next presidential candidate for the Democratic Party. If Biden doesn't run, that would be the assumption. She's vice president. Mm-hmm. But I'm wondering whether people see her that way. I don't hear people talking about her, and you're right, we're early in the game. We're only a couple of years in, or a year and a half in, whatever we are. But I don't hear people giving her the deference and the reverence that you would see someone where, you think that they may end up being the next president of the United States. And I'm hoping that will change, but I'm just telling you how I don't hear that now. Yeah.
Well, she ran for president. So I think there are there's a section or a segment of people who believe that she is presidential. I think she's presidential. So I think we have that that group of folks. Then I think I don't know if this is good or bad, but there's a lot of people right now who feel like she's the president right now. They make jokes all the time about, the president not being capable to run the United States or be the leader of the free world, and she's propping him up during this administration. So some people feel like she's already doing it. But I'll say this in closing on this particular part. You take one gander on Twitter, bro, and you see that people feel that she's either not smart. They blame her for all of the immigration policies and things that are going on wrong, or like I said before, that she's running the country and it's not Biden. So you know how I feel about this, man. It's like, what side are you on? If you're a Republican, you don't like her. If you're a Democrat, you support her, unless you are one of these new Democrats and you got some issues.
I'll be even more pointed about it. I think she is presidential in many aspects, but when I mention it, I'm talking about, is she doing things that give us a forecast that she can be president? I guess that's a better way of me putting it. And part of it may be that she's not been put in those situations, but I really hope that she gets a chance to find her voice as a potential president, because I think it's important for her to be put in situations where she shows that she can be in command of large situations. They put her in command of the immigration situation. I would have liked to see her be more out front and vocal about what's going on down there. I want to see more of her. I want to see more of her capabilities, because we know she's competent and capable, because she did show that during the primaries. Primaries season. I want to see more of that, because I think it's important as they build her record in the event that Biden doesn't run. Mm-hmm. And that may happen over the next couple of years. But I not saying she's not presidential. I'm just wanting to see more of those presidential capabilities on display. That's what I mean.
Yeah, I'll say this. And one thing we do have to keep in mind, or that I'm trying to keep in mind, is that, man, I was thinking about it earlier today when I knew we were going to talk about this. Ken, we just got shots in arms like spring last year. This pandemic, like, we're just starting to see a little bit of daylight at the end of this thing. And so this administration has been just, like my dad said, has had an albatross around their neck called COVID-19 for the last, 12 to 14 months, and they've just been wrestling with it, bro. So in my opinion, I feel like now that they can potentially get past this a little bit more, they can start rolling out their administration, their agenda. Well, last thing I'll say with her is that she recently, maybe it was today, talking about maternal health, especially for women of color. So I think that's one of the initiatives that she's trying to drive. So hopefully she'll be able to display a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to see a little bit more acute participation nationally in issues that affect our community, and I'm talking about our community.
Yeah.
And I want her to be a strong voice out there. I think that's how she finds her way to the presidential landscape when President Biden decides not to run.
We're gonna find out soon. In about another 6 to 7 months.
And we know she can stand the heat because she's done it before. So that's one good thing. Look forward to that. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, everybody knows that. I'm sorry. Were you done on that? You had anything?
Yeah, I'm done on that, man.
Okay. Shout out to Kamala. Excuse me, Vice President Kamala Harris.
Much respect to Vice President Harris, and they say Cam need to learn how to respect. Cam Newton need to learn how to respect. African American women out here, man. That's what's the word on the streets.
Yeah, man, Cam, he exploded on the internet last night or sometime yesterday with some comments that he made on another podcast. Shout out to Wallow and Gilly on $1 Million Worth of Game podcast. But check this out, man. I wanted to read these comments to you.
Okay.
Have you seen the clip? Have you seen it or read anything about it?
No, but of course I've read about it.
Okay, all right. So let me read this real quick. So he was on the show. And let me set this up. Cam Newton is a free agent in the NFL. He hasn't been playing great the last couple of years. So he's on the tail end of his career. And he's on a podcast where they, is free to talk. He's not in a structured situation where he's on SportsCenter or ESPN or anything like that. And so he says in his comments, now, I do want to say this. He opened with him talking about growing up in a 2-parent household and his grandmother living there. And he was comparing what he felt is a quote unquote bad bee or bad chick to what a real woman is. And he says, quote, "There's a lot of women who are bad bees. Bees in a way, not to degrade women, but just to go off the aesthetic of what they deem to be a boss chick." He said, "Now, a woman, for me, is handling your own, but not knowing how to cater to a man's need, right? And I think a lot of times when you get that aesthetic of I'm a boss bee, I'm a this, I'm a that." He did his hands like that. He said, "I'm a this, I'm a that." That's what he did, not me. He said, "No baby, but can you cook? You don't know when to be quiet. and you don't know how to allow a man to lead," end quote. And then he continued, they asked him more about that or whatever. So just hearing his comments and the context of what he was saying, I want to ask you, do you feel like he's wrong with his comments? Or this is a touchy subject, so I'm going to let you handle it how you want to respond to it.
I better say he's wrong. I can't go back to the house tonight. Yeah. Look. In today's world, man, you have to give respect to African American women and what they are and what they've accomplished. And if you have a critique, make sure that critique is accurate. And African American women are clearly more than people who should be quiet or cook. That's kind of like telling LeBron James to shut up and dribble a basketball. That's just not going to work in today's society. You have to recognize, we just got finished talking about Vice President Harris. You got to recognize what black women are. And you have to respect that and you have to revere that. And his comments really sounded like they were the opposite of that. Yeah. Because if you're going to mention those things, then in the next breath, mention all the wonderful things that African American women do. They don't just cook. They're not here to be cook and be quiet no more than LeBron is dribble and shut up and don't do anything for the community or the world. That's not going to work.
All right, so let me shoot Let me shoot Cam some bail. He didn't say black women. He didn't make any distinction about any color. So I want to shoot him some bail and say that. You talk. He did follow that by talking about men. Men have to step up and be leaders and take care of their family. He did, he had some things to critique men about as well. I will say this first. You mentioned in today's society. Well, I'm going to keep it a band here on in the Black Court. In today's society, if you follow, everyone follow social media, being a bad bee, being a boss chick is a thing. That is something that women aspire to. There are books. I know Amber Rose has a book about being a bad bee or being a boss chick. I'm someone who has worked with personal brands now for over 10 years. I know the aesthetic. I know the killer heels as far as shoes, the dresses that they wear, the slaying of the makeup, the banging hairstyle, and the big glasses. I know there's an aesthetic out here relative to being a bad chick, to be a boss chick, getting your bag and all of that. And so him being someone who has been in the NFL for 10 years, he's a multimillionaire. I'm sure that he's seen women who aspire to be that and have communicated that to him. So I guess my question would be, can he not have an opinion about that when that is a real thing that's out here?
Yeah, but how do you skip from there to saying all you're about is cooking and being quiet? That's what I'm saying. There's a gap there. You have to, if you want to be critical of women being boss bees or whatever, that's fine. That's your right. You can be negative about whatever aspects of those or whatever traits of being a boss bee you don't like. But that doesn't mean you skip all the way to say that what you all should be about is cooking and being quiet. I mean, what about all that middle ground where you're talking about all these positive attributes? Then I'd also like to say, I didn't hear him say anything about the positive attributes of women. I mean, whether he's talking about black or white women, what about, in addition to those comments, saying, but we've got women out here raise our kids, they are professionals, they're vice presidents, they're Supreme Court justices, they have a lot of attributes that are positive other than cooking and being quiet. So I'm not saying he doesn't have a right to criticize certain women for what they are, but you also don't have a right to demonize women as a whole. You have to have some balance, and if you're going to talk about the negatives, then why not also talk about the positives? Now, I will say this. Cam Newton played football here in Charlotte. I mean, we saw Cam Newton for years. I mean, I've seen this brother take time to spend with people who are disabled. I've seen this brother participate in community-related events or charity-related events. This is a wonderful guy. Okay, don't front it. This brother is beloved here in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm also not down for this thing where he says something, that almost is inconsistent with what I've seen from him here in Charlotte. And then so that just ruins him for everybody for the rest of his life. I think he made a mistake. You get on these podcasts and get hyped like Jay does every time we do a podcast.
That's my job.
You know what I'm saying? And you say something that you don't, he said some things that I'm sure he regrets. I don't know if he's tried to retract it at this point or make some clarifications. But look, let the brother correct himself, give him a pass, and let's move on. Because the Cam Newton we saw here in Charlotte for a long, long time is a brother that cares. So I will say that. Yeah.
All right. So a couple things. Number one, relative to his track record, there was an incident when he was here in Charlotte as a Carolina Panther. There was a reporter who asked a question about Funches. I forget Funches' first name. He's a wide receiver. She asked him a question about him being physical, and he's like, "Oh, like that's a lady asked that question." So he got vilified for that. So he does have a history of having comments that may come off a little chauvinistic, if you will, or what have you. So I think this added fuel to that. Again, I'm gonna shoot him some bail in this situation. He started out talking about he grew up in his home with a two-parent household. His parents being married for I think about 35 years or so. He saw the roles of his father and how he impacted his life. He saw the roles of his mother and how she's a woman and what he felt that role was like. And the context that he was trying to communicate was that you can aspire, and I think this is the point, that there is a lot of women who are aspiring to be a bad chick and to be that aesthetic. That is truth. Like, that is a trend. That is real. And to my point, people are writing books about that. But he was saying, in addition to that, can you cook? Can you take care of your man? You be
careful with that.
No, I'm just communicating what the brother said.
Why are you asking a woman, can she cook? Now, somebody gonna get Will Smithed up in here if we had some women sitting in here and we asking them, can you? What relevance does that have? Like,
it's got a lot of relevance.
So we were gonna ask, how you pronounce the name again? Kamala Harris.
Kamala, yeah.
Kamala Harris, if she can cook. I mean, what does it have to do with anything? I mean, unless in your mind as a male, you have taken women and put them in a category where you're supposed to cook and be quiet. I don't care. I know 1,000 women who don't care nothing about cooking or being quiet. They do DoorDash every day. They go out to a restaurant because they making their money. They getting paid and they doing their thing. Don't ask me about cooking. How is that relevant to how you value a woman? Professional women, a lot of times, they don't even have time to cook because they're out there getting paid, handling their business, helping the community, helping their family, and doing what they have to do. So all I'm saying is, I think that he would have been better off if he had been balanced about his comments and said, like you said, these are some traits that maybe I grew up with, but I understand that you can value women in other ways. And so that's probably what he should have said. Because I'm going to tell you right now, my mom, rest her soul, if somebody had come up to her and talking about, I need to make sure you understand how to cook and be quiet, she might have slapped him. So I just think that I agree with you. I think he said something, he was trying to say something. He said it in a way that has caused a lot of anxiety. He probably meant to say that these are some of the traits that I value because of what I saw in my mother. But I'm saying, bottom line is, he should have added those other things because that's important to women. They want to be valued by more than whether or not they can cook and be quiet.
So I think he said what he wanted to say, and I believe that if he believes that, he needs to stand on it. I think and again, I think the point that he was trying to make, or what I received when he was making his points, was that we're talking about in a relationship. So to act like a man doesn't want certain things from a woman, and that a woman doesn't want certain things from a man, that's not realistic. People want certain things in a relationship. People bring certain things to the table in a relationship. And this is a hot button topic and has been over the past year or so. You have people like Kevin Samuels who talks about this every single night on YouTube. There's all kinds of women.
That's why women don't like Kevin Samuels.
And there's a lot of...
Because they don't want to be limited to you talking about me cooking and being quiet. Because there are a lot of women who are going to ask, yo, my man, when you going to get a job and be quiet? And so the bottom line is, I just think, I get where Cam was trying to go with that. I get it. But, women value themselves in a way much more complex than that. And a lot of women ain't out here trying to be cooks and sitting over in the corner like a vegetable. They have something to say. They've accomplished something. And a lot of them too busy to be cooking. And I'm down with that. If that's you, then I'm down with that. You ain't nobody trying to put no woman in no corner where they just cook and be quiet. I don't think that was his intent, but you read it. That's what he said. So
I think, again, I would encourage everyone to go out and see that video. We gotta eat, Ken. People gotta eat. So I mean, you can still. Listen. I've been married for 12 years. You've been married for a long time. My parents been married 55 years. You gotta eat. Somebody gotta eat. Somebody got needs. Somebody has wants. That's a part of a relationship. Let me cook for a minute. I done fell back 2 times ever since you done spoke.
If your wife came home
all
tonight
I'm saying
and you said, "Be quiet, I don't want to hear about your work day."
He didn't
when
say
you
that.
gonna
He
cook?
didn't say that, Ken.
When you gonna cook and be quiet?
He didn't say that.
He said, "Cook and be quiet."
No, but you know the difference between the inflections that you're putting on that and what he said. I saw the video, and he didn't say it that way. His point was, if you're aspiring to be a bad chick, which a lot of women are, I'm starting there because that is the truth. If a lot of women are aspiring to be this thing and you want to be with a man, well, these are things that men look for. Now, you might not look for it, or another man might not look for it, but a lot of men do.
That's why
we can front and act like we don't to cater to women and say, hey, women, you know, that's not how we feel, but that's not the truth.
I think that's why women are so upset about his comments, because he gave a part of it. He didn't. If that's your experience, great. But you're not going to limit no women out here to cooking and being quiet. But that's what he said. I think that's why he's getting the reaction that he's getting. Did he intend it to be that way? I don't think he did. But he said it, so that's why he's getting the heat he's getting. You know.
Okay. Again, the same way you talk about, there's women who feel a certain way. There's men all over this world that are watching and supporting people like Kevin Samuels. If you go to the comments to this particular statement, there are men who are in support of this. I'm just letting you know, I'm just saying for this podcast's sake, that this is a real hot button topic. There are people having this discussion every day in this era, because there are people who are aspiring to be a certain thing that they see on social media, and there's other qualities that people want in marriages and relationships, and they're not there. And he just made a statement to say, hey, if you're aspiring to be this, bring these things along with it.
He gonna keep getting cooked. If he come back and say it again, he gonna get cooked the same way he getting cooked now.
All right. Well, I'm hungry. I like to eat. So
yeah. Well, hey, look, man. You know, we great discussion. You know, that's that. Definitely. Well, some of that was red meat. You know what I'm saying? But the bottom line is, we're gonna get to a little bit of dessert now, man. Get to a little bit of fun as we wind it down, man. I've been waiting for this all day. I didn't know we were gonna get so deep about Cam or Miss Harris. You know, we had talked about the subway shooting. That didn't brighten anybody's day.
No.
But right here, man, I want to get to this, man. Get our listeners and our viewers' opinions on this.
Okay.
The top 5 black movies of all time. Top 5 black, and I got some surprises.
Do you have some criteria?
Yeah, the criteria is what's in your heart. Same thing I said the other day.
Okay.
How you feel inside. You know, obviously we're talking about cinematography.
Okay.
We're talking about the script. We're talking about the acting.
Okay.
But I also want to add in how the movie made you feel.
Mm-hmm.
And whether or not it made you feel that way for a long time. There's some movies that were so good that they're enduring pieces of a person's experience.
Okay.
And so that's what it's all about, man. So, hey, that top 5, man, I got my list here, and I know you got yours. Man.
How we doing it? We gonna do 1 and 1, or you gonna read the whole list?
No, we got to go 5, and then go like that.
All right. So you set it up.
Man, my number 5 could have been my number 3.
Okay.
Okay, but it got stuck at number 5. But
Okay.
it fought. New Jack City. My number 5 of all times is the revolutionary movie New Jack City.
Yeah.
Acting, power, made you feel it.
Mm-hmm.
The music ended the reign of the light-skinned dudes in the United States.
As we know it.
Wesley, my boy, handled his business. Thank goodness, man.
LG still trying to come back.
The boy Al B. Sure and Christopher Williams, boy, they did a lot of damage to dark-skinned brothers out here, man.
They need to build a statue of him stabbing Christopher Williams in the hand. That should be a statue.
Hey, man, that movie in so many ways kind of changed how we saw, I mean, like even the drug industry. It changed how we saw the drug trading and all that. But it also, man, pointed out this this friction between good and evil in the black community. So it was just an interesting story, man. And we never forget it, man. You go scene by scene, New Jack City. I'll always remember most of the scenes in that movie, man.
Great movie. Yeah, I'll let you know if that made my list. And I got honorable mentions tonight because you tried to play me last time with the honorable mentions.
Yes, sir.
All right, so number 5. Oh, let me say this. Ken, go with the heart. I'm going off a couple of things. I'm going off the number 1, cultural impact. Like, did the whole black community want to go to the movies, man, and go see this movie? And then the other part of it, of my criteria was, man, did like everybody in the family want to go see the movie? It's stuff that I wanted to see. My parents wanted to see movies, and we didn't want to see each other's movies. But was this a black movie? Like, just everybody wanted to see it. So number 5 for me is Black Panther. Listen, a black superhero, bro. You cannot tell me that wasn't cultural. That wasn't for the culture, as the young folks say. Man, shout out R.I.P. to, man, what's my man, Chadwick Boseman. Yeah. Man, playing Black Panther. Man, it was a beautiful movie, man. All the technology, just the little, what's the word I want to use? Just them being cool. It was a cool movie. It wasn't like a corny black movie. Man, I got to shout out, man, Black Panther. That was my number 5. Yeah.
Okay. All right, my number 4.
Okay.
My number 4, man. Eddie Murphy, man, to me is a special brother.
The GOAT.
And I'm gonna have to put him up. We're gonna talk about that one day here soon. And Coming to America, man.
Okay.
Kind of was one of those coming of ages movies where we started to see African Americans in a different light. But this movie was different. It was seeing African Americans in a different light on the screen relative to the homeland.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about it. The perfect blend of comedy, story, insightfulness, a person's journey to find his better self, and to find his wife. And it talked about fatherhood and motherhood. Had all of those elements in, but it was a seamless movie where comedy and those themes came together. So my number 4, Coming to America.
Man, let me tell you something. The most what's the word? Ironic, or what's the when you like feel uncomfortable? Is the most uncomfortable thing is to be at the movies with your parents and a love scene comes on. Man, let me tell you, my number 4 is, man, Boys in the Hood. Like, Boys in the Hood was before Menace to Society. It was before all the hood films that came out in my era, when out in the 90s, that showed the West Coast violence and things of that nature, man. Man, I just love that movie. It was the introduction to of Ice Cube, John Singleton. You remember how it was so big, man? We had a black director. You like, man, we gotta go out and support this movie. But it was just a great movie, man. Just wonderful. My man, what's it, Morris Chestnut. Shout out to, one of the what do you call it? One of the chocolate brothers on the Mount Rushmore. But man, like, Boys in the Hood, great movie. R.I.P. to my man, John Singleton. Shout out to Cuba Gooding Jr. I know he got some stuff going on, but Boys in the Hood, number 4 for me.
Man, you bring me back memories of Juice and Above the Rim when you lay down those. But man, my number 3, and I had to get my head right for this one because this has to be on the list.
Okay.
It's Color Purple.
Okay.
Man, Whoopi Goldberg in that movie was a revelation. I mean, such a great, dramatic performance that made you feel it. A lot of that movie was filmed in North Carolina.
It was.
But the cinematography was absolutely astonishing. The story, this journey that she had from being no one to being someone and finding her niche in this world, I just thought was remarkable. A beautiful, moving movie, and so that's why I have Color Purple at number 3.
Shout out to the Color Purple, man. Number 3, you had it a little lower on your list. I got it number 3. New Jack City is a cultural phenomenon from Wesley Snipes, like on a personal level, seeing a dark, I mean, I know not just brown skin, I'm talking about a black brother. You know what I'm saying? Being in the lead role, man, he had the funky haircut with, like, I ain't never seen a haircut like that. From the music in it, the soundtrack was banging. You remember? Ooh,
yeah.
Like, I mean, it was just so much in that movie, man. Shout out to my man G Money. People call me G Money to this day, man. My name starts with a J, but they call me G Money. But man, it's just, you know, to see the grittiness, the cinematography, all of the people in that movie, man, it was just great all the way around. New Jack City, number 3 for me.
Yes, number 2, the Kamala tribe will not.
Black Panther up there?
Black Panther is number 2, man. Look, all I can say on Black Panther is, did you see the movie? I mean, come on, man.
Yes, sir.
This was an astonishing movie from a special effects standpoint. But it was also a coming of age for Chadwick Boseman and the ensemble cast that you had, African Americans who raised their game to the highest levels of acting in the Marvel universe, man.
Yeah.
And it was sustainable. I mean, had Chadwick Boseman not passed away, he was going to be the Black Panther.
Yeah.
A lot of these actors and actresses in the Black Panther will continue on in the Marvel universe. What a beautiful, stunning film from a cinematography standpoint. But the acting is just so it made you feel like they were real people, man. I mean, you felt like, and there was so much pride that was generated when the Black Panther came up. I am the Black Panther. I am the Black Panther. I mean, it was just a great, great movie, man. And that's my number 2.
Man, I see a trend with you and I. We got the same movies, man, but it's just the order. For me, man, Coming to America is number 2 for a lot of the same reasons that you echoed or that you mentioned. Man, it was one of those cultural shifting movies where everybody had to go out and see that movie. It didn't matter if you was an old lady or a little kid, you wanted to see that movie. You talked about all the elements. The thing that I'm blown away by, to me, this is the movie that made him Eddie Murphy the GOAT. Dog, he played Hakeem. He played the barber in the barbershop, the main barber. He played Sexual Chocolate, what's his name?
Oh, man.
Randy Watson, everybody.
Sexual Chocolate.
Yeah, he played him. He played, even in the barbershop, he played the white man, or, you know, that was him too. Like, it was an incredible display of him showing his talent. It is one of the funniest movies ever made, period. And he directed the movie too. Like, that is incredible, man. Like, he didn't have to do anything else. Coming to America, one of the greatest movies of all time, period.
All right, man. Now we down to that number 1.
Yeah.
There's one movie that changed for me how African American professionals are seen.
Okay.
In the United States. Okay. One movie that gave us a class and dignity and level of accomplishment in the professional world and change forever how we're seen in the professional world as African Americans. And the gold is in it. Boomerang.
Wow. Boomerang number 1.
Is my number 1 movie. And a lot of people talk about this. We had never seen African Americans in the workplace, in a professional, high-end, money-earning environment carrying themselves as professionals, managing businesses, owning businesses. Even Lady Eloise, before she went crazy, had her company. It's just, it was like this new world where someone opened the door, and now we could see African Americans as professionals in the office workplace. And it worked, and they did it, and they were successful, and they were accomplished, and they did have lives, and they could carry themselves with class and dignity. So for me, Boomerang is the #1 African American or Black movie of all time.
Man, that was a left hook. I didn't see that coming, brother. Boomerang, man, that probably is my second favorite Eddie Murphy movie. You talk about he was in the advertising industry. You talk about Lady Eloise. Listen, from if you remember the John H. Johnson. Like, Black people have a legacy. Like, there's companies that have been around for 50 and 60 and 70 years, a legacy of Black folk that have had all kinds of brands and companies. So I got to shout you out on that, man. Boomerang, that was great.
Power in Business, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Managing accounts. Power in Business. That's
stuff,
right.
man. That was just a beautiful movie, bro. Yeah. #1, man, you got to, hands down, it's Color Purple, bro. Color Purple. I know that I think Spielberg or somebody might have directed that. I'm not sure. But, I mean, you're talking about the introduction of Oprah Winfrey. You talk about Danny Glover. You talk about Whoopi Goldberg. I'm talking about just all-stars, not only as actors and actresses, but people just in our culture being featured in this movie. Of course, it's an old movie, but when I just look at, man, it's one of those movies where you might not have went to the movies to see it, but dog, you have seen it on every network on TV, and it's just one of those movies people can quote line for line. There is off-Broadway shows.
Papa, who this here woman?
About this, everything you do. Like, it's just too much, man. So it's just one of the, to me, it doesn't get bigger than that.
Yeah.
Honorable mentions?
Man, I'm telling you, this list could be long, man.
Yeah,
but
I had 10, bro.
Hey, man, it's real out here. Honorable mentions. Will we just do tit for tat here?
Okay.
Training Day.
Ooh, okay.
Wow, man, Denzel took it there.
Yeah, he did.
I mean,
Lonzo.
we knew this Denzel. He gave us this Denzel. One of the most iconic acting jobs I've ever seen. That guy transformed from the nicest guy in the world to somebody who was just off the chain in the streets and running the streets. So Training Day is my first honorable mention.
He made you not like him, low key. If you like, man, this dude dirty, man. For me, honorable mention, man, I'm gonna take it back. Shaft. I believe that before all, we had the chance to do these big budget movies and all this, where it was an event to go to the movies and to see the Black directors and all that kind of stuff. Before all of that, you had Shaft. What's that? Who is the man?
Yes,
like, I mean, you talking about somebody that was cool. This is before my time, but just everything that I've seen, somebody that was cool. It was a positive role. This is during the time of Blaxploitation, where everybody was a pimp or a drug addict and all this stuff. It just was it Richard Roundtree. Yeah, man, that's mine.
You might as well say Superfly and Dolomite if you don't think I'm saying. Look, hey, I've got a couple more honorable mentions real quick. I got to go with Love and Basketball. Man.
Wow, okay.
Man, you talking about something just going to reach in and touch your heart for a movie. This was the one movie where, I watched it. I don't even like movies like that, man. But I just got into it, and you just really love the interplay of the relationship there and the progression of time related to that movie. There were a couple of coming-of-age movies like Stomp the Yard, Love and Basketball. All of them are great, but Love and Basketball really touched my heart, so I've got that as an honorable mention.
Man, we tripping, man. Malcolm X.
Yeah.
I mean, when you talk about, I didn't even mention this one, but you talk about when Jamie Foxx, he played Ray, like he was Ray. When I tell you Denzel Washington, you talk about Training Day, bruh, he was Malcolm X. There's this famous there's a part of a documentary where they talk about the movie, and they're filming a scene where, that famous scene where Malcolm X is talking. He has everybody lined up from the nation or the Fruit of Islam, I should say. And the police are telling him to get these people out of here, and he has a finger up and he does like this, and everybody move out. But before that, he was speaking, and Spike was like, he went on for like 10 minutes, and he said, "Man, what was going on? I yelled cut like 10 minutes ago." He said, "It wasn't me, bro." He became Malcolm X, man. That was a big movie for us.
Yeah, definitely. And my last one, man, is a movie again with the GOAT in it. That kind of changed the direction of black cinematography and how we saw ourselves in movies. Was Harlem Nights. Because,
oh my God,
man, and it was a situation where you take it back in time, you're facing all these obstacles, but you're smart, you're intelligent, you're cunning, you're crafty, you're able to manage the situation, but you're also able to manipulate in a classy, dynamic way. Oh, sugar, my man. And so it was, to me, that was a great movie. And then I love Della Reese in the movie, and I love Red Fox, and I love the way he had Richard Pryor there, kind of taking the best of history,
man,
and putting them all in one movie and giving them kind of one last hurrah.
I'm getting chills thinking about that, man. That was cool, man.
Yeah, do it in a way that made us all feel good. So Harlem Nights makes my list.
Listen, real quick on that, man. Oh man, that's a great pick, man, because that was a time where he showed black gangsters in, like you say, in a classy way. A lot of times movies, when they depicted a black gangster or black people, they were always addicts, or they were always runners and things for, other folks, other crime families. But this was a beautiful thing showing what it was really like. So my I got another honorable mention. It is Friday.
Yeah.
To me, dog, Friday, like, man, it's just sheer comedy, just like, for my generation, like, everything that Coming to America was, I respect the talent of Eddie Murphy, but just a funny movie, man. It ain't about nothing. They just sitting on the porch for most of the movie. But for me, it's Friday, man. One of the greatest movies ever made.
And a couple of little shout outs. The Best Man, Straight Outta Compton, and Soul Food. Those are three movies. Didn't quite make my honorable mention list. Yeah. But all three of them, man, are movies that I've really, really loved and think made a big, big impact.
You said Best Man?
Best Man, Straight Outta Compton, and Soul Food. Man.
For me, I would throw Above the Rim, man. Greatest soundtrack ever created.
And look, in front of you got to give Suge Knight his props. Yeah. That is widely recognized as the greatest soundtrack ever. So you got to give them props. Backed up by the sales too. It was off the chain, both domestically and overseas. So,
no, that's cool, man. You making me nostalgic, brother. You making me want to go home and watch some of these things, man.
Hey, man, and that's the way it is, man. I'm gonna say one last thing. We get ready to get out of here, y'all. But give Eddie Murphy some props. You got to. For like the Nutty Professor, and like you saying, playing all these different roles in these movies, man. That was just astonishing. It's almost unbelievable what Eddie Murphy did in some of these movies, man. It's crazy. Yeah, man. Like, I called him the GOAT, but man, if you really think about how great, like, how sometimes something is so good, like, you don't watch it anymore, like, you don't even pay attention. Like, Harlem Nights and Coming to America are so good. Like, we know the movies line for line. In The Nutty Professor, look, let's be for real. You didn't give Eddie Murphy his acting props because it's a comedy. But I'm telling you, the brother was off the chain in those movies playing those different roles. He should have got more props. And we got to get to the point where we give awards out for people who do things like that. Just because he's black and it's a comedy,
it's called the Oscars,
doesn't mean you don't give him an Oscar for something like that. Exactly, man. And he, so anyway, man, great night, Jay.
Great night, man. Great show. It was action-packed. We had all kinds of ebbs and flows. Ken wanted to beat me up talking about women. You know what I'm saying? Kamala, movies, man. It was an incredible night, bro.
Yeah, man. Great night, man. And we'll repair our relationship and keep it moving.
I'm going to go cook him something right now.
As long as you cook and be quiet, we're straight.
All right, man. Love you, dog. Good to see you, man. Shout out everybody, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time in the Black
Court, baby. Let's go.
Yeah.